Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Howdy. Welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. Our show is a production of our nonprofit organization, the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, or THCF, and our affiliated political committee, CRRH, or the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp. We have a wonderful web portal out there at www.hemp.org. That's HEMP.org. We have an exciting show for you tonight. We've got Bingy and the Seventh Seal Band is here to play some reggae tunes for us. How are you doing, folks?
Great!
All right. Good, good. We're going to have them play here at the opening and at the end of the show, too, so stay tuned. Tim Pate and Adi, a Buddhist monk, are here, and we'll be taking your phone calls about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, and helping medical marijuana patients in just a few minutes. Our teleprompter is still broken, but we're hoping it'll be fixed next week. The hemp news of the week is that the California Supreme Court has basically ruled that they can't set limits on the amount of marijuana that a patient can possess and grow. So the California Supreme Court threw out all the limits that had been established by the various counties. Remains to be seen what will happen. There's a Proposition B in Mendocino County that would have lowered their limits. So now that the Supreme Court's thrown out all the limits, kind of makes Proposition B, a vote coming up here next week in Mendocino, moot. But we'll be back in just a minute as we buy a few crucial moments with our infamous dancing cannabis leaves. There you go. You're welcome. All right, and so without further ado, let me introduce Bingy and the Seventh Seal Band. How are you doing, Bingy?
Greetings, yes man, everything nice.
All right.
I love each and everyone in here and out there. Yeah.
Thank you for coming and playing for us, and we'll see you at our Hempstock Festival.
Let's it until that Jah Rastafari is the Most High, so he keep guiding. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
It was found on King Solomon headstone, so would you believe it? One! Which would you rather have in your body? Or would you rather some chemical made from some factory? How would you rather have sensamina running your sea? I wanna tell ya, for me, strictly sensy, Lord have mercy, the weed. Yes, this is all I need. Lord have mercy, the weed. Strictly sensy, Lord have mercy, the weed. I hear what I see. Well, it was found on King Solomon headstone, so I want you to know. Yes, it was found in the scripture, I read about it so. I hear about the healing oil, sensamina is the one for me. Lord have mercy, you see. Strictly sensy, Lord have mercy, the weed. Give it to me, Lord have mercy, sensy. Strictly the weed, Lord have mercy, can't you see? Now hear what I tell thee. It was found on King Solomon, I want you to know. But would I ask you one question? Which one would you rather sow? Or would you rather have sensamina Or would you rather have some chemical in your body? Lord have mercy, you see. Give me the weed. Lord have mercy, you see. Straight up sensey. Lord have mercy, the weed. Give me the weed. Lord have mercy. Can some people see what it done for me? Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Well, look, it is the only cure for your cancer. Only cure, I tell you, for the glaucoma. Yes, I suffer. RSD, this is painful for me. Lord have mercy, can you see? A strictly sensey. Lord have mercy, you see. Only one for me. I don't want no kind of done, no oxycodone. I don't want no kind of done, a methadone. I don't want no kind of done, that them I wanna put in my belly. Lord have mercy, can't you see? A strictly sensey. Lord have mercy, can't you see? It's the healing for me. Lord have mercy, can't you see? Strictly ganja weed, Lord have mercy, can't you see? I like to wake and boil my teeth.
Thank you, Bingy. Bingy and the Seventh Seal. Thank you, folks.
Blessed love, 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 love.
All right.
Another nation.
Powerful.
Oh, man.
And
Well-
Biggie wrote that song, I'm not mistaken.
No mistake in that, yes, so strictly sensomania.
And talking about medical marijuana.
Yes, it
Don't
is.
need the oxycodone or
Because
methadone. I
when
like
the
that.
another nation, if you can't see it, you read your scriptures. Preacher man, no time in no light was found in the scriptures. The oil. That, yeah. And we'll rub his head with. Jah! Rastafari.
Right, bro. We are taking your calls tonight, and Bingy is in the house, as is the Seventh Seal. We'll have him back here toward the close of the show for one more tune. We have a caller who's been standing by, though. Hello, caller. You're on our show. We get the sound in the studio. Hello, caller. Are you there?
Can't hear you.
Well, maybe they are.
No,
Maybe they're not.
can't hear him yet.
Just never know.
That's all right. This is an all-volunteer show, as everybody out there knows. We've got 12, 13 volunteers every week that show up and,
That's right.
and put this show
There's
together.
the
and
three of us here on the camera. We want to welcome Adi. How are
That's
you
right.
doing, Adi? Welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you very much, Paul and
Good
Tim.
to have you.
Nice to be here. Wonderful
Buddhist
music.
monk working in the community. It's a multicultural show here tonight.
It certainly
It's
is.
very nice.
And the Rastafaris.
And you and me. Yes.
Well-rounded.
And you too out there in TV land, if you have a question for us, you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We'll be taking your calls right up to the top of the hour. We've got, about a good 50 minutes ahead of us. So if you have any questions about ending adult marijuana prohibition, as we're working on, helping medical marijuana patients, or restoring industrial hemp, give us a call.
There's been a lot of things happening over the last week, though. I know our news segment is shortened because some of the equipment that we normally use for the show is down this week.
That's true.
But
Big-
that won't stop us from at least giving out the news. I know that.
Yep, we've had breakthrough in California where they've thrown, the Supreme Court has thrown out limits on medical marijuana gardens. And so there's a vote that Mendocino County has coming up here next week, and it kind of invalidates that vote because they were going to, the vote was to lower the number of plants that were authorized. Right now, Mendocino County had 99 plants authorized. This would have lowered it down, I think, to 49.
Now, that was the state Supreme
No,
Court?
the state Supreme Court made
Okay.
that ruling.
All right, the state of California, in other words.
Exactly.
All right. I know there were some incidents here in this. There were some court cases in Oregon this past week, one down in Jackson County, where an individual was denied a permit for a handgun.
Yeah,
A concealed weapons permit. And they had to go to court, and I understand that Lee Berger represented them, and that they actually won that case in the district court down in Jackson County.
Without the help of the National Rifle Association.
That's
Apparently
right.
the NRA wasn't willing to come in and help medical marijuana patients. So you NRA members out there, take that to heart. Call your headquarters and tell them, help medical marijuana patients, or you're going to drop your NRA membership or something like that.
Yeah, but anyway, the decision down there was, as I understood it, the
Positive one.
was a positive one. The county sheriff was ordered by the judge to issue that permit. I understand that the county sheriff
Didn't really want to.
decided he wanted to maybe attempt to appeal that ruling, so don't know whether that is going to happen or not, but at least there was one court case this week in our favor in this state, which is
We have
always a good
another
thing.
phone caller. We're going to try this again, folks. Hello, caller. You're on our show.
Uh-oh,
Hello, caller.
we don't hear you.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
How are you tonight?
I'm fine. How are you tonight?
Good.
Very well. Thanks for calling. You have a question for us?
Yes, I have a question. I'm a person that has chronic pain and nausea. I have had cancer. I'm diabetic and I'm hypertensive. I recently been being seen at one of the sisters' hospitals. I won't give the name over the phone. I don't think that's appropriate. But my provider had me sign a contract. Now,
A pain
I've never
management
been
contract.
arrested for drugs or never used any drugs or anything. And I asked him why was I having to sign a narcotic contract in order to be able to I have really bad migraines. And so, I've done the pain clinic, I did the naturopath, I did the acupuncture, I did massages, I did in the pool, I've done
You've
all
tried
of those
all
things.
the variety and
And,
gamut of
so,
alternative medicine.
yes, and so, so he told me, he says, well, there's an Oregon ordinance that requires that you have to sign this in order for me to give you Demerol when you come into the doctor's office when you have a migraine.
Yeah, that's not true. It's one of their office policies.
And so
And-
what happened is that I tested positive for marijuana. So now they have banned me from the clinic and refusing to give me any service and saying that I have to go to the urgency clinic or the emergency room. And I said, I asked him about medical marijuana for myself. And he is an old school doctor that's old-fashioned, and obviously,
He wants to give you debilitating pharmaceuticals that are very expensive and that he can control.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry that you've run afoul of this. It's pretty common. It's something that we hear almost every week. There's a lot of controversy recently about organ donors and recipients of organ donations being taken off the list for testing positive for medical marijuana. It's even more common for people in your situation on pain management contracts to have your pain management contract terminated when you test positive for medical marijuana, and then you're just left to they tell you go to the emergency room. It's could be an issue for litigation.
Yes.
A long-term issue. It's not something that's going to resolve your immediate withdrawal symptoms. However, cannabis does help with that. And, I have a lot of antique medical marijuana bottles that we'll be going through here in just a moment. A couple of them, though, say that they're specifically to help patients withdraw from opiates. And then this one in particular here, we'll get a close-up on it in just a minute, is from Sharp and Dome, and it's a migraine medicine. So cannabis has been used to treat migraines for hundreds of years.
Well, I never asked him to give me Demerol for the migraine.
How long did he keep you on the
And
Demerol?
so, therefore, I've just tried everything that I could possibly try.
So basically, he got
And,
you strung out on the Demerol. He got you hooked to it.
And so I'm not hooked on it because he monitors it very carefully as to how much he gives.
So you didn't have withdrawal symptoms when you were taken off of it?
No, I've never had anything like that.
Thank goodness for that.
But my thing is that I was wanting to know from your organization, is there any way that I can find anyone that may be willing to represent me, especially since I'm on disability?
Certainly. I mean, there's a good possibility. I can't make a legal recommendation right here. Of course, I have no legal training, I've got to add. But there are attorneys that we refer people to at our office. And you feel free to call the number that's there on your screen, 503-235-4606. If you don't have do you have a permit for medical marijuana currently,
no, I don't,
or were you just
and
trying
I'd like to get one.
Well, we can definitely help you do that. You are more than qualified.
Are you also able to refer me to a doctor that would accept it? So that I could also
we have dozens of doctors who are ready to help you, and they're working 6 days a week here in Portland, and can help patients with your conditions. You know, you're qualified several times over with all the things that you listed at the outset of your phone call. But you definitely would qualify, and if you want a referral for a doctor, we have not just doctors here in Portland, but doctors all over the United States who are compassionate and help patients get medical marijuana permits. So just call that number there on your screen here in the Portland area for that referral. Okay. It's 503-235-4606.
Okay. All right. And then their office open Monday through Friday?
Yeah, they're open Saturdays too.
Oh, okay.
Monday through Saturday. You can leave a message 24 hours a day. If you leave a message right now, they'll call you back in the morning. Okay.
Well, I appreciate that because I always listen to you guys all the time. And it's a good thing that you guys are on the air because, a lot of people just don't know,
Right.
And
that's where we're trying to educate them, and we'll enlist your help in educating your family and friends, too.
Kind of a contract, I would have been trying to get in touch with you and went ahead and got a medical, because I asked him about a certificate, and he said no, he didn't believe in that.
Right, he just believes in debilitating narcotics, apparently. Well, I'm sorry to hear that it was an incident for you, but it sounds like I really think medical marijuana could increase your quality of life in comparison to some of those opiates that'll just knock you out. And so I recommend that you contact us, and we have doctors throughout the western United States who can help you.
Paul,
right?
How many doctors in the state of Oregon now have signed a license?
2,700 doctors.
Exactly.
And there are a little over 8,000 doctors. So we're talking about roughly a little bit more than 1 out of 3 doctors have recommended medical marijuana currently.
Right. So there are plenty of doctors out there who can help you and are willing
to help you. The majority of those.
General practitioners and specialists of all different kinds.
That's right.
So, I mean, you
about half of them have only
available.
recommended it for 1 patient. But there are 10 doctors who've recommended it for over 500 patients.
Good for them.
And we refer people to those specialists generally. There's a whole series of phone numbers there with our clinics and doctors across the United States who can help you. But wherever you are, we have that toll-free number, 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. So if you're outside of the Portland area, give us a call. What was that?
I'm inside of the Portland area.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say in closing?
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, thanks for your phone call.
Okay, thank you.
I hope we can help you. Just here in Portland for a physician referral, or if you want to get involved in our petition campaign, we're going to launch this summer to end adult marijuana prohibition, restore industrial hemp, and make marijuana available at cost through pharmacies to patients, then call that number there on your screen. It's 503-235-4606. And to find out more about the petition drive, go to cannabistaxact.org. That's cannabistaxact.org. And you can get into all of our websites through our web portal at www.hemp.org. That's HEMP.org.
Just offhand, what is the date that's going to kick off? The signing, the signatures?
July 7th.
There you go. Thank you.
July 7th. I think we're about 56 days away from it as we're going to to film here this evening.
And how long do we have to collect the signatures?
Until July 2010.
So we have 2 years.
2 full years
Good.
to get 83,000 signatures. I'm hoping we'll get the signatures in less than a year and break the record that we set back in 1985 for a vote in 86 on the Oregon Marijuana Initiative.
I hope so, too.
I helped set that record back in kicking off the petition drive in 85, and we started collecting signatures in June of 85, and by October we had enough signatures
Perfect.
to qualify for the
We
ballot.
might just do that again.
I think so.
That could
I think
happen
we'll do
very
even
quickly.
better, maybe. That is currently the record in Oregon. We qualified in October of 85 for a vote in November of 86 on the Oregon Marijuana Initiative, and it unfortunately failed pretty badly. But
98, it passed.
yeah, a couple of things passed. We defeated recriminalization of simple possession of marijuana, which is ballot measure 68, and we passed medical marijuana with ballot measure 58. So that was a good year, 98. So just...
I still have my signs from that campaign. Yes,
Hey,
yes
no
on
collector's
58,
items.
no on 68, or something like that.
Yeah. Those are collector items now. If you're out there and you have a call for us tonight, you have a question or comment, you can call us at that number there on your screen. It's 503-288-4448. If you're not watching on May 30th, 2008, it's not Friday night, May 30th, 2008, don't try to call that number because we're not going to be there. In fact, we won't be here next week either on June 6th. I'll be off in Colorado for the National Normal Legal Convention. THCF, or the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, is a sponsor of that this year. Some of the Oregon Normal folks are going to be there as well. So we'll report back the following week on Friday the 13th. We have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi, is this me?
Yep. It's you.
It is.
Hi. Well, my biggest question is with cannabis, and since Anslinger and the prohibition of cannabis way back when it was the second largest cash crop in the United States, how do we effectively do a media campaign to perpetuate social change is what we actually need.
It's going to
because I know
take
I'm
money.
a patient
A
with
whole lot of
hyperpermanency, and
spending money.
I'm
And
sorry?
so it's really a matter of buying media time and educating the public and telling our family and friends about the benefits of industrial hemp, and that we can drive all of our cars with biodiesel fuel from hemp seed oil. And the byproduct of that is making more food than we need to feed all the people on Earth.
Cannabis used to be a huge cash crop in the Imperial Valley. There used to be mechanized, I don't know the word for it, but for debarking or taking the fiber off of it.
Yeah,
so
decortication.
Right, and the prohibition came about, and that's what needs to happen with cannabis is social change. Even with Kaiser Permanente and the HIV clinic, there are doctors there who are anti-cannabis.
Yeah,
and believe that it's a hindrance. And I was approached and said, "Well, you must be high all the time." And I'm thinking to myself, "Well, no, not necessarily as high as some people on oxycodone or Demerol or even the antidepressants that they're perpetuating nowadays that cause side effects such as suicide and teens and things of that nature." And so it's a huge challenge. And what are your options for proposing social change?
Well, we have an initiative petition out there that's going to kick off here in just a couple of months. It's the Cannabis Tax Act, or the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act. And you can find out more about it through our website at hemp.org or cannabistaxact.org. And
Yeah,
it will.
the Tax Act is wonderful, and I think it's a great step forward, but the initial problem with any kind of state ordinance is that it's in violation of federal law. California is experiencing a huge closure of so many cannabis clinics and pharmacies, and places where people who need medical marijuana can go to are being shut down systematically by the federal government.
Well, you know, our proposal, let me just tell you about it, was written specifically with input from hundreds of experts across the world having to do with the federal supremacy issue and international treaties. Now, what we've done with the Cannabis Tax Act is implemented a system of controls that's mandated by the Single Convention Treaty that the United States spearheaded. They outlined a system of controls that a state can regulate the sale of cannabis to adults And so we take that system of controls and then base our departure from federal law on a long list of findings by the people of the state. Now, the people are the sovereign. We're the king. The people are the king.
Absolutely. That's what I've always known, is that the people are the ones who make the laws. We're the ones that elect the laws.
The people make these findings that are actually the first third of the text of our initiative. And we outline those and lay out the legal and constitutional precedents why we're breaking from federal drug regulation. So we think by complying with the international treaty requirements that the United States has obligated us to, which carry the same weight as the Constitution in court proceedings, and by basing our departure on a number of legal issues and findings by the people based on historical and constitutional issues, that we've designed a bill that will be upheld in the inevitable federal court challenge it will face after passage. I know, Tim, you wanted to...
That's what by the people, for the people, the United States government is all about. But what I'm finding is that even here, I can't find a job if I test positive for cannabis, even though I am a medical patient of
don't be too discouraged. There are jobs out there that won't drug test you or don't care if you're a marijuana patient. There's a lot of them that do.
Job, but there's no job that would pay me more than minimum wage. Well,
that's not true.
I disagree with you, but that's really a moot point.
I can go and get a job and still be testing positive for marijuana, that I can make a living wage and support my family and be a contributing factor to my family, and not have to file a complaint with, say, the state of Oregon.
Well, we've got a studio full of people here that hold jobs and manage to test positive for cannabis and still are very, very productive employees and contribute to their...
I'm a productive employee who would test positive for marijuana, but any job that I've gone to so far, whether it be in the airline industry or even the restaurant industry or...
Now, most restaurants don't drug test.
Some of them do.
But most of them don't.
The claim jumper would test an employee if he or she is to have an accident on the job, and if they test positive for marijuana, they'll be terminated.
Yeah. Well, that's the claim jumper. Not every restaurant is that way. There are some companies that feel differently about cannabis. I know that. And if you're persistent, eventually you can find a position with a company that they can pay you better than average wages.
You go broke with your persistence. That's what I'm finding is that
you can go broke, but if you don't give up, eventually you
you're
can
broke
move ahead.
and destitute, and somebody will hire you at minimum wage.
Well,
that's not always the case. I don't agree with that outlook of life, but I understand that right now the way the world is kind of dark and unemployment is there, and I understand that when you move from one state to another, like you just did from California to Oregon, it's a little harder to find the gainful employment, and because of that, it can be difficult. I want to answer your bigger question. You were asking us how do we social change. Social change comes through interaction with your opposite. Social change comes from education to all of those people that you feel like need to have education in order to see your opinion and why you agree.
Behind your head there.
Yeah.
Educate.
We have to educate. That's what this show is about. Excuse me.
If you guys have a job offer that I could be supportive in the cannabis clinic or cannabis social change that will pay me a living wage that will be able to support my family, that's great, because cannabis I have found is the best option for me for antidepressant, for pain management, for asthma, for so many options, and yet I'm penalized each and every time if a company finds that I test positive for cannabis.
Find a different employment.
One time I went into a job interview. Let me just tell you this story. Back when I was 18, I went into a job interview, and the manager of the job asked me, "Do you smoke marijuana?" And I told him the truth. I said, "Yes, I do." And he hired me because I told him the truth.
Every job will ask that question, do you ingest? Sleep Country asked me the question, do you ingest illegal drugs?
But when you have a medical marijuana permit, it's legal.
Yeah.
Right, but as soon as you answer the question, yes, I smoke marijuana, you are no longer eligible for hire. They will give you you don't meet our requirements.
I understand. Well, just hang in there, bro. Eventually, times will change, and that's what we're working at with our Cannabis Tax Act petition. I want to thank you for your call, though.
Hopefully the heated debate will...
And, hey, bring us a resume. You just never know. We're always hiring people.
If you're as persistent with your job search as you are on the phone, you won't have any problem.
I'm an actor, so I'll always be persistent.
All right. Thanks.
But to answer his bigger question, because he never gave me a chance to do that, it is education. It is a matter of way back when you and I were first beginning to get involved in the hemp industry. We had to separate the recreational users from the medical users from the industrial people, and each one of us had to attack the issues at hand separately. I mean, I remember when you had eco-free tree paper, you know, and you were so focused on just getting that paper out there, nothing else mattered at that moment.
That was the campaign.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's how we really went about it early on. We focused on individual issues. When I was with CNS Specialty Builder Supply, we focused on building materials. That we felt like that was our main emphasis. When people asked us if we smoked, we said that's not the question today. We're worried about this issue, and so by focusing on that, we became experts on the subject, and people came to us and wanted to know about industrial hemp rather than, oh, is it cool to smoke, or how much THC is in that, or any of those other questions. We didn't answer those. We didn't talk about them. It wasn't important to us. We focused. And by doing that, we legitimized the issue. And by legitimizing the issue, then the public has an opportunity to make an opinion. And when they have the facts in front of them and they can make an opinion, more times than not, they will make an educated opinion in your favor if your facts back it up and are reasonable. And that's what happened. We won the vote because we backed it up with reasonable facts, and that's what we've done. I mean, to answer his question is, that process has already been happening and for a long time, or we would not have been able to pass any of those votes.
And medical marijuana has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
We have another caller, though. Hello, caller, you're on the show. Hello?
Hi, I was just wondering what you think the difference between smoking and eating marijuana was.
Well, when you smoke or inhale...
I can definitely tell the effects of smoking is harsh.
Yeah, when you smoke, the effects of marijuana are from 1 to 4 hours. When you ingest cannabis, the effects last from 3 to 8 hours. It's a longer duration. It takes more material to achieve a medicated state with cannabis, a little bit less when it's smoked or inhaled. I find when I eat cannabis, it's a more intense high if I get high from it. However, to achieve pain relief or relief of spasms, seizures, or glaucoma, you don't have to get high from cannabis. You can just take a sub-psychoactive dose of cannabis, and that'll take care of pain, spasms, and seizures. It's the THC in cannabis that causes the high, and it's another compound called CBD that gives pain relief and relief from spasms and seizures and glaucoma. So you got to keep that in mind. But generally, ingesting cannabis lasts longer, and if you achieve you take a psychoactive dose orally, it's going to be a little bit more intense of a effect. So I hope that helped.
Well, I had another question on why you think marijuana hasn't been legalized yet.
There's a lot of economic forces out there that criminalize cannabis to start with. I really think it's the petrochemical industry. The fact that you can drive your car on hemp seed oil. It's a biodiesel fuel that's more than 3 times more productive than any other seed oil crop. And the petrochemical industry made up this whole reefer madness myth, and they implemented it back in the 30s to criminalize marijuana. And the prohibition police and other society parts have joined together to maintain cannabis prohibition. And it's through education, I think, especially today when we have $140 a barrel oil and $4.50 a gallon gasoline. Hemp seed oil is the real solution. And once we're driving our cars on hemp seed oil, we're going to wipe out world hunger with hemp flour. This stuff right here at the end of the line that we'll get to. This is hemp seed oil, very nutritious and good for a biodiesel fuel. And the byproduct is hemp flour. which could feed the world's hungry, and it's a good animal fodder as well for folks who eat animals.
I just want to say I love your show, and what's up to Jamie Lorenz. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for calling. Hi, Jamie and Lorenz. Hey, Adi, you've been pretty quiet over there. Thanks for your...
Very patient.
Yeah, your patience.
But really listening to what the issues are, I think you're speaking very clearly about the multiple fronts needing to be focused on, so it's really...
It really is a
wonderful to hear.
multiple front issue. You know, the fact that we can drive our cars on it is something that so many people just aren't aware of yet. And it's hard almost to believe that, you know, we don't need to be dying for oil in the Middle East. We can give all our money to the farmers instead of the sheiks, and achieve a real economic balance and put money into our local economies. And
I think they need to address that more and more.
And world hunger will be wiped out. You know, once hemp is legally regulated,
shelter, you know, medicine, fuel. It's such an important.
It really is. It
such an important part of our
more
culture.
fiber, protein, and oil than any other plant on this planet.
Definitely.
How can we prohibit the plant that produces more fiber, protein, and oil than any other plant on the planet? And it's only because of these evil corporations have done it through lies and racism. And what could be more just than to fight the evil corporations trying to dominate the world? And what have these evil corporations given us? Worldwide toxic oil spills, massive deforestation, wiping out entire ecosystems and plant species.
Culture, displacing people, and
cultures,
creating a refugee crisis, and you know, it's
worldwide.
Just worldwide.
You know, it's an economic and cultural fight, and we hope to participate and are happy to be able to stand up for what we believe is the right thing to do. We have a question from one of our audience members. We have an audience here, and if you want to come down any Friday night in the Portland area, not Friday the 6th or July the 4th, we won't be here on those Friday nights. But any other Friday night, come on down to 2566 Northeast MLK or Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and we're here. How are you doing?
Just to prove it, why don't you give us a shout out, the audience?
Hello, audience. Thanks for coming down tonight. You have a question?
That's more of a question for the earlier caller from California. It's having trouble with the testing. I'm just wondering if maybe a Marinol prescription would help him.
That's exactly right. You know, we have a number of doctors that write Marinol prescriptions. If you have a Marinol prescription, there's no way that they can differentiate between artificial Marinol and organic cannabis in their drug testing procedures. So if you have a Marinol prescription, you can, even though you'll test positive for marijuana, you show them the prescription, and any drug testing place will report that as a negative because you have a valid pharmaceutical prescription for Marinol. In fact, our doctors help patients get Marinol prescriptions not because they think it's an effective medicine. They think cannabis is a better medicine. They recommend medical Marinol for employment purposes, so people can pass employment drug screening. And so for more information, we have doctors across the western United States. You can just call that number on your screen for more information. We have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hey, thanks. I was wondering if you guys had any information on finding good clones for card holders in the Portland area.
There is good information. You know, the meetings that we have, normal meetings, are the second and fourth Saturday at Mount Tabor on 49th and Southeast Hawthorne.
It's Mount Tabor Theater and Pub, the corner of Southeast 49th and Hawthorne. It's on the second and fourth Saturday of each month.
You'd be there by 11 o'clock in the morning. The doors shut at noon.
You have to be a member of Oregon Normal, but you can join at the door, and your membership's good for a year, so you can come to, like 24 of those meetings. I personally give out clones there, and other people bring them in and donate them as well. The next meetings will be June 14th and June 28th. At the Mount Tabor Theater and Pub. There's also online forums like IGotMyCard.com.
That's right.
And we have an online forum on our website through hemp.org for patients. We only give that out to patients where patients help each other. And they can help each other get clones, exchange medicine, and things like that.
Right. Yeah, other clubs like the Oregon Legal Cannabis Consumers Club and some others out there are They're waiting.
Yeah, they're
there are a
helping
lot of
patients
people involved in it.
So you just get involved in either the Oregon Normal meeting or go to one of these websites, or are there other groups out there as well throughout the state that are helping patients, forming local community? Did that give you a hand?
They have some pretty good clones that would be more towards the medical side. 'Cause I'm not looking so much to get buzzed. I'm looking for relief.
Relief from pain?
Spasms mostly.
Spasms? I would recommend making some edible product out of the leaf. It's the THC that's mainly in the flowers that gives the buzz, and it's the CBD that's found throughout the plant that gives relief from spasms and seizures. And so you can make a compound out of leaf, and we have a recipe that we give away at our office at 105 Southeast 18th Avenue. It's 105 Southeast 18th Avenue at the corner of Ankeny and Southeast 18th, just off Burnside. We have a recipe to make capsules that Dr. Rick Baer put together. And Dr. Baer was the chief petitioner and spokesperson for ballot measure 68, which legalized medical marijuana back in 1998.
Well, that's great. And so it doesn't have to be like trim that has like
No, just
it.
your regular old sun leaves have the CBD in it. You don't have to make it out, and they won't give you that psychoactive buzz, but they'll help take care of your pain and spasms, seizures, and glaucoma.
Well, I never knew that. That helps out a lot.
Yeah, it's not the THC that's helpful. It's the CBD or cannabidiol that's helpful for pain, spasms, seizures, and glaucoma.
Okay, great. You've answered a lot of questions, and I've learned something new. Well, thanks a lot.
Glad to be able to do that. Thank you for calling. Hopefully a few other people found out, too.
True.
Our long-term viewers have heard this time and time again, though.
That's true. Now, we have a hemp stock meeting tomorrow at 4:20.
We have a potluck meeting. It's a potluck at 6 Northeast Tillamook Street at Studio 6, which is 6 Northeast Tillamook Street at the corner of Williams and 6th, or Tillamook. Williams and Tillamook. And it's right there on the corner. It's a little one-story
Now, when we say
brick
potluck,
building. Well, people know what we mean by potluck. You know, bring a dish of food.
That's it.
Bring your own bud. You know, we don't like a lot alcohol. Don't come and get drunk. Let's put it that way. But you can bring other forms of bud.
But this is a volunteer meeting for hemp stock, and if you're interested
we need a
in
lot of
volunteering,
volunteers. We have a pretty exciting celebration coming up.
We do.
On September 6th and 7th. We have Willie Nelson and Arlo Guthrie's daughters, Amy Nelson and Kathy Guthrie. Folk Hugh will be playing their big Hughes. We have John Trudell, who's my hero, really. He's a little embarrassed when I told him that. But he's going to be there with his band playing Native American songs.
Wonderful.
I'm so happy about that. We have Human and the Human Revolution playing the Tree of Life. And Bingy and the Seventh Seal, who opened our show and will be closing the show, taking us down with some great reggae tunes as usual.
Yeah, the Herbivores
and other bands, the Herbivores and
Los
Mr. Tim
Marijuanos.
Pate, Los Marijuanos, and Mr. Tim Pate
I'll
here.
be there and play. I'm
He
looking
always
forward to
opens
that.
them. You were going to open one in the Imperial Valley. They were talking about.
Still working on that. Still working on that. That everything is in process, and when I have the lineup for that, obviously I'll announce it. But until then, I'm going to keep that under
All
my
right,
cards
we'll
tight.
keep it up. I guess we have another caller though. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can. Welcome.
We can.
Hey, I got a question for you.
All right, we're ready.
If my wife gets a medical grow card,
As a
and
patient
I
or
have
just as a
been
grower?
arrested for manufacturing and distribution, and I'm living in the same place, will I have strike 3 felony against me?
No. If she has a permit to grow legal medical marijuana and she stays within the limits, you don't want to go over the limits, and the limits are per patient 6 flowering plants and 24 baby plants that are less than a foot tall, less than a foot wide. And so as long as you 18, total of 24 plants, 6 of them can be bigger than a foot and wider than a foot. They can be budding or not. 18 of them can't be budding and have to be less than a foot tall and a foot wide. As long as you stay within those limits, then you don't have anything to worry about. Your wife would be a legal cannabis grower. Did that help?
Right. She would be legal, but I'm living in the same household, and the last time we were arrested for it, everyone in the household was arrested.
What county do you live in?
Multnomah is where we were.
And are you under supervision currently?
Oh no, it's been 12 years.
Things have changed a lot in the past 12 years, let me tell you.
They have.
It's a world different nowadays. The police will not take your garden as long as you are within those limits, especially in Multnomah County. You're very, very safe.
Now you follow those rules, you'll be fine.
As long as you don't go over, and your caregiver, you can't have more than 4 patients per caregiver effective July 1st. And so...
so that keeps your limit under 98 plants legally in the state of Oregon, and that's under the federal limit.
Yeah, exactly. So you shouldn't have a problem as long as you stay within those limits.
And there is if you are involved in that at all, which I see no reason why you couldn't be, even though you have a past conviction. That conviction is a long time ago.
You could be a
It's not current
caregiver as well,
yes,
if you wanted to be. You would be legal for that. So I hope that helps.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
You definitely. I have a conviction for cannabis in the past, and I'm a caregiver, and I haven't had any problems whatsoever. In fact, last year I generally advise patients don't let the police come into your garden and count your plants. Last year I let the police come in and count my plants. I knew I was way under. They counted them. They said you're fine, and they went away and didn't touch any of my plants. So. In fact, I'm hoping that if anyone tries to steal them, the police will come and arrest the thieves.
Yes.
That's what I want to see.
I hope that doesn't happen, but if it does, I'd like to see them do that job if it happens.
So, Adi, you have a couple carvings here. I know you carve pipes as well.
I also make stone pipes. I do. We have a festival coming up. I wanted to plug that a little bit. June 7th, there's a festival at Colonel Summers Park, just down from your clinic. It's on. It's between 17th and 20th and Belmont and Yamhill. So it's right. It's the Colonel Summers Park. We're going to have over 20 Buddhist organizations and other agencies that are there. Some that are helping refugees, and also for the cyclone relief, and a lot of different agencies will be coming together for this one day, June 7th. Officially, we're starting from about noon until 4:30, but a lot of us are getting there early. We need volunteers. We have about 30 monks and nuns coming early in the day to do an alms round, traditional alms round, and be fed lavishly. There's going to be a lot of food, a lot of speaking panels, meditation and chanting classes. And I'll have some of my rocks there, mostly rock carvings where
you want to show a couple of those? You got one. It's the Buddha's footprint.
Yeah, and Bodhi leaf and little cats and a lot of different items that I have carved over the years. And I also make the traditional medicine pipes out of this stone. This is our Oregon pipestone or soapstone, and it's a really very good material to carve and work with. So I'll be there, but I'll be just part of the festival. It'll be so exciting to have as many people as can come.
So what's that location again?
Colonel Summers Park, 17th and right off of Belmont and Yamhill.
I see.
Between Belmont and Yamhill.
That'll be, what, Saturday the 7th?
Saturday the 7th of June. I know that there's other activities, there's the Rose Parade, but we would really appreciate if people came down and wanted to have a nice festival. There's going to be a lot of food, like I said, and a lot of really strong blessings for people. Last year we had about 1,000 people come. And
was it concurrent with the Rose Festival?
No, we were just off from the Rose Festival last year. This year it's a little more synchronous.
See how that works out.
Yeah, hopefully there will be a lot of people
that
that
flock. Let me ask you a question. Now, I've heard the legend that the Buddha sat under a banyan tree and found enlightenment under the banyan tree, and that he lived there for how long? Under the banyan tree?
Well, he was there in that area for about 49 days, but he had been in the mountains for about 6 years with his other disciples or friends, and living off of just barely any food. They would, eat just one hemp seed a day, or
one hemp seed.
They were very ascetic practice. He later said, "Now that's a little bit too extreme. You should eat what you want." within
get that
reason.
Big belly without eating something.
He wasn't fat at all.
Wasn't like that.
No.
Those
he was down
Asian.
to skin. He was down to skin and bones by that
one
time.
hemp seed a day, I guess you would be.
I don't think so.
But then someone fed him, and he just immediately flushed up, and he was sitting under the Bodhi tree, which is like a ficus. We call it the ficus religiosa, and it's the tree of wisdom. I've sat under it in India, and a lot of people still wear the hemp robes. In Korea, there's a strong movement. It's kind of a fundamentalist movement that they're trying to reinstitute only hemp and linen robes, and because it's part of our tradition to have the hemp textile, also in our housing. We're allowed to use a lot of the hemp fibers and cordage and things like that to use our housing. And of course our medicine is also one of the allowable medicines is cannabis.
Right. All right, we have another caller. Hello, caller, you're on the show.
Hi guys, hey, there's a local cable access show, I believe it's called Sustainable Today, and the version that I watched the other night had Randy Leonard, two nice ladies on there from some kind of, energy, whatever it's called, and then some other guy that was on there. And they were showing how to make biodiesel, which was a long, cumbersome process. They were using restaurant grease, and they had to use sodium hydroxide and methanol, and I'm just going, good God, who wants all that crap in their house,
Right.
Well,
that's, after you've had a bunch of animals and plants fried in the fat oils, they've got to do a lot to clean it up to get it ready for, if you take raw seed oil, you don't have to put it through all that process.
Well, could you guys, with your system there, please get a hold of it? Evidently, it looks like City Commissioner Randy Leonard is on top
He's a
of this.
big proponent
He's not
of
completely on top
biodiesel.
of this biofuels thing, but he's pushing for biofuels, and they are just really taking one step forward and two step back with by trying to do this restaurant grease and by trying to also raise other vegetation that isn't nearly as efficient as this. And I had one other question: is why did the industrial hemp that we would be making our biofuels out of in our clothing and all paper and everything else, is there CBD in those leaves too?
Yes.
Okay,
There's
great.
CBD
So we could be
throughout
making
the
all our
cannabis
pain
plant.
medication out of it too.
That's right. There's a bunch of, 1 acre of hemp will produce, according to this article from Notre Dame University in the Midlands Naturalist in 1975, 1 acre of hemp produces over 8,000 pounds or 4 tons of hemp seed. You press the hemp seed, it's 30% oil by weight. You get over 300 gallons of oil with a byproduct of 6,000 pounds or 3 tons of high-protein hemp seed meal, just like this stuff right here and this. And so then the other byproduct after you've taken the seed oil and protein is you still have the stalks and stems left there, and that has bast fiber. Bast fiber is the outer bark of the hemp stalk, and it makes canvas, rope, lace, linen, ultra-thin papers such as Bible papers or cigarette papers. In fact, about 50% of all the cigarette papers out there today are hemp fiber papers. The rest are flax fiber. And currency papers. If you need an extra strong paper, hemp paper is it. Here in the United States, our currency is 70% flax and 30% cotton. Most of the rest of the world, about 70% of the world, uses a 70% hemp and 30% cotton blend for their currency papers. Then you also have the hemp hurd fiber. Traditionally a waste product, hemp hurd fibers will make building materials and all other grades of paper. And the taproot draws up subsoil nutrients, and the leaves, as they fall off, make those nutrients available in the next crop rotation. Then, as you brought up, there's the residual medicines that can be extracted from the leaves and the remaining flowers.
Well, hemp, from what I can see, and I'm not a genius, it could literally save this country, because if you look at the suicide rates of our, there were just several big articles here in several
About
different daily
soldiers.
papers about the suicide rates amongst our current military personnel and also the retired and military personnel, and it's they wouldn't have to be over Mideast fighting for all this.
Well, the Israeli army uses cannabis for PTSD. and hopefully someday our soldiers will be able to do it legally as well.
Well, there's that too, that aspect too, which is a great idea too. But what I'm talking about is that we wouldn't have to have them over in one of these other stinking countries fighting for something that we don't need.
Money for the sheiks.
Yeah.
So we can give our money to the sheiks.
Well,
hey, listen, we're out of time. I've got to cut you off. I want to thank you for your phone call. A lot of good issues you brought up there. Thanks. Then we're going to go out with Bingy and the Seventh Seal with another fantastic reggae song. You'll be able to see them at the Hempstock Festival right here in Portland on September 6th and 7th. Down at the Water Festival, it's going to be on the East Bank at Main Street. So stay. Well, are you playing any place else soon?
Yeah, come check us out tomorrow night at the Jolly Roger. Little diner down on Rockland.
Yeah, Jolly Roger right there on the inner east side. Yeah. Okay. I want to thank you folks for watching. Tune in next week and help us restore hemp.
Bless you. Yeah. Consciousness, people. In charge, God's in charge, Rasta know who's in charge, God's in charge, I say so. Open your mind and tell me what you think. Open your heart and tell me what it be. And I know Rastafari, so yeah, oh yes I know who's the King of Kings, yeah. Rastafari, 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 Rastafari. Mix! Kings of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. With him from Mataya, Ethiopia. But much of them don't believe in the Messiah. So we read about the sesame and the marijuana. Some of them don't wanna tell me who them saw. Tell you down the hide up the 6, 7 books of Moses. Lord have a mercy, them a high scripture. But who's in charge? Lord have a mercy, who's in charge? Who's in charge? Lord have mercy, who's in charge? Who's in charge? Say Jah, he's in charge. Who's in charge? Let me chat what? Some of them are now like going further. I wanna put you in a jail cell, y'all, just because that you're going for the good medicine, y'all. Me have to tell them now. Thank you, Mr. Doctor, now a kid sabba. I say the first governor in Oregon, so when I was signed for the doctor, say the good ganja. Well, Lord have a mercy, y'all. But tell me who's in charge? Jah's in charge. Rasta know who's in charge. Jah's in charge, I say so. Rhythm. I may not be what you want me to be, and I may not see